Ladies and gentlemen, live from the top of the food chain, a new day has arrived. Strap yourselves in for a fun.
Thank you, Chucky. That's right. Episode 11. We're in double digits now. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. What's going on? Let's see. I know. Because it's November, it's sort of that time of the year, you know. 'Tis the season-ish. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Boom Shakalaka. Otherwise known as 'tis the season to start posting passive aggressive stuff on Facebook. Um, the MTA just announced that 141 people were hit by trains and 55 of them died. See, that's why I don't like the MTA, because you see, I don't like any group that can't get at least 50% of the job done. Here's a shock. I went out with a chick recently, and thank you. I know it's shocking. But she told me she wanted a guy with great hair, so I showed her my back. I just love the reactions from women in the audience. By the way, ladies, all of you guys, I suppose, are Christian, right? We have Christians here today? Because, see, apparently the power of prayer actually does work. The world prayed and something actually happened. I'm not talking about a cure for Ebola or ISIS being destroyed. Crumb's Bakery is coming back.
All right. Yeah.
And speaking of food, I just burned 700 calories today. Yeah, I kind of left my bagel in the oven too long. Truth be told, I like to eat spinach, but I just can't figure out why I just don't look like Popeye. I'm guessing it's because I have it wrapped in bacon all the time. And my favorite food is peanut butter. And the one thing I really like about peanut butter is when it sticks to the roof of your mouth. Because that's sort of like Tupperware, where it just saves food for a future meal. I gotta be honest. It's okay, Veronica. You can be stage manager and laugh. It's part of the equation. I do really want to lose weight, because I'm kind of fat. But I want to lose weight to be healthy. I want to lose weight so I could fit in the Barclays Center seats finally. Speaking of sports, have you guys noticed that Bill de Blasio? Yeah, that's his name, Bill de Blasio. Kind of looks like Rex Ryan during his press conferences. And speaking of basketball, the Knicks have announced that they are no longer doing the triangle offense. They are now doing something called the obtuse right-angled parallelogram. Are you people confused by that? Good. So are the Knicks. Robert Downey Jr. just had it announced in the Hollywood Reporter that he's being paid $14 million to be Iron Man in Captain America 3. That's not even an Iron Man movie. It's a Captain America movie. He's playing Iron Man. He's getting paid $40 million. I'm getting paid $27.35 to be in SantaCon. That's pre-taxes. I think I need to fire my agent. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, The Who, the great band The Who. They have said that their song Teenage Wasteland was because the name Mall just doesn't have a good ring to it. That's okay. You're allowed to let Veronica, please laugh. Go ahead. Anyways, are you guys ready for a show? Thank you. So am I. Forget the yellow brick road, okay? I'm on the gray floor. Follow the gray floor. Follow me, camera. What are you, a third baseman for the Mets, for Christ's sake? Come on, follow me. Thank you very much. All right. Now it's the professional Cyclone. Okay, so joining me right now is somebody who is beyond VIP. He is the co-director of community media right here at this ship we call Brick, Mr. Anthony Riddle.
How you doing, Cyclone?
Thank you very much for stopping by.
Sure, man.
Before we talk about what's going on here, I wanted to touch base on some things from your illustrious career, because it's a mile and a half long.
I'm not very stable. I guess that's what that means.
When you were the GM over at WBAI.
Yeah.
Now, did ownership have any demand? Would there tougher demands coming from the top on you there, or was it more hands off?
Well, their arms weren't very long, and they were in Berkeley, and so Pacifica actually has 5 main radio stations. They have Berkeley, Los Angeles, Houston, Washington, and New York, and so the main Pacifica organization is in Berkeley. They're pretty much California centric, so I mean, even if you listen to WBAI now, you'll notice that there's a lot of California programming on, and naturally they think that's the best. There's a lot of things they didn't understand about New York and would have liked to have changed, but we had a board here, and we had our own staff, and so we were pretty much autonomous.
Cool.
As long as we raised enough money, which we never quite did.
See, but out of curiosity, because now I think they're downtown.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Downtown Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the time I was there, they were on Wall Street, which was really a mistake. So there was a lot of rent to be paid, in addition to which there's, being on the Empire State Building is really a big
Right.
deal. It's worth about $400,000 a year worth of antenna fees.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
it's a lot, yeah. But now they're in Brooklyn. I think the offices are in Brooklyn, and the broadcast, I think, is up at City College. But I'm not that closely associated with them.
Now, out of curiosity, every department has their own needs.
Mhm.
So, being the top dog there, how were you able to handle everybody's needs combined?
Not very well, mostly. Well, I mean, it's no secret. Anybody who lives in New York knows that there's always a argument going on at WBAI. They're always on the verge of death, and they've been on the verge of death for 60 years practically now. So that's, they survive and they make it, and I think they provide a really good service to the people of the city. It's just, it's a more or less democratic organization, so it's very noisy.
Right.
There's a lot of conflict. As general manager, though, I didn't have any control over the programming. It was actually in the bylaws that the general manager does not affect the programming. Only the program manager does. So that way
Wow.
they keep the administration out of those kinds of decisions. And yet, there was a lot to work out among
Right.
the various factions on the staff, and about a $3 million a year fundraising needed to be done over the air, which you hear often.
Well, being that that's the case, was it hard to ever stay on budget?
It was impossible. All the time. We were always behind. It was always running a little bit behind. Although, I had a couple of good quarters there when I first got there. But I think there's just some structural problems. Like I said, the Empire State Building and the rent on Wall Street were probably as much as the whole budget in some of the other cities. Yet, on the other hand, there's a lot of good programming that comes out of there. Everybody knows Democracy Now! Comes out of its relationship with WBAI and Pacifica, and that's one of the most important programs in the country, I think.
Right, absolutely.
We have it here on Brick on Brooklyn Free Speech. We show it every day.
Now, you're also a board member at the Maysles Institute.
No, I was a staff person at Maysles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. And just so in case people don't know, Maysles Film Institute is a small independent theater up in Harlem on 126 in Lenox. It has a really great set of programs. It's really worth going to. It's very inexpensive, only seats about 60 people. Usually has discussions afterwards of the film. So instead of just going to see a film, it's really a community event. You see the film and people talk and so forth. It's really a great place, but it's named after and run by Albert Maysles, who is one of the world's most important documentary filmmakers. He's the one that really put forward the idea that that those who are less famous have lives that are every bit as interesting and important as those who are very famous, and that documentaries about them should reflect that, and that the documentary makers shouldn't impose themselves on the subject, but should establish a relationship and let the subject reveal themselves. So it's not, there's no narration, it's just showing the people how they are,
Right.
you know, and trying to humanize them. So I think it's really a good thing.
Would you even know if any of those projects there have gotten any heat in mainstream?
You mean like have they shown?
Well, that and because there's a big difference between, like, I don't know, like a blockbuster type movie, and the independent side, the documentary, the all that stuff is always pushed aside. Has there ever been a crossover where someone caught someone's ear and said, "Hey, let's even put more into this and blow it up even more"?
Yeah, I guess it's probably true. That's not generally. I guess that's not what people are really looking for, because I guess there's enough commercial films, even documentaries. I mean, you get like somebody like Michael Moore, and he's done fairly well for himself. But you take, for instance, when the Manny Marable's book on Malcolm X came out, which was somewhat controversial, because he had some theories about Malcolm's personal life that people hadn't really discussed. They tied that together with a panel of people that included Amiri Baraka, the imam from the mosque Malcolm had been at, some young intellectuals, a couple of hip-hop guys, and they had like the most vibrant discussion around this, but they didn't have a new film. They just showed a series of films, that had been done about Malcolm over the years, and it was really an amazing experience. And, so I think what they're interested in is the value added. It's not necessarily just the documentary and is this a blockbuster or whatever. They're trying to provide a way for people to talk about the subject matter, and in that way, it's very much like here,
Right.
which is that even with your show and other people's shows, we want you to be as successful as you want to be. But the more important thing, I don't know if that's possible, that anybody could be as successful as you want to be. But the most important part is the process, the fact that you're able to speak, the fact that you have something to say. And it's the same there, that that the film is actually the starting point. And this is what I think it should be for all media. Media should be the starting point, and social community should be the end. That we do these things because we want people to have a place to talk about the things that are important to them. And I think that's the important thing. I think we lose sight of that fact sometimes with some of the big blockbusters. We get sort of overwhelmed by all of the magic that they create with the advertisements and the interviews and the hype and so forth. And then we go see it, and frankly, sometimes the stuff is a little bit of a letdown.
Right. Very true.
But when it's a good movie, you want to go talk to somebody about it, and yet they're running you out of the theater as soon as it's done.
Yep.
Right. And so Maysles is not like that, and I think that Brooklyn Free Speech is not like that too.
Now, Atlanta, Minnesota,
Hot and cold,
New York,
smoking.